Blackheart but won't go away, but Winx is too good. She scared her rivals away.
That makes my job easier and it takes the pressure off. I haven't got an apprentice or a young rider. I haven't got a jockey who hasn't ridden the Valley before. Most importantly, Hugh Bowman will be aboard for that 2 minutes.
You go forward and lead, so that would change.
At 5.10.
And Cheska So's Winx, sorry to butt in. I mean, she's $2.30 on one of the totes around Australia and $2.10 on the local one. And then Yankee Rose. Well, Yankee Rose is the one that's half the odds, isn't she? At $6.80 at the moment.
People may be trying to look around the two favourites and see where they can find a bit of value. And Yankee Rose, look, she's got 47.5 kilos. She's going to be running like doesn't think she's got a jockey on her back. And yeah, her trainer's very, very confident.
Time now to hear from their jockeys, Hugh Bowman and James McDonald.
Winx has raced to the lead. Hartnell, ultra impressive.
What makes for a good race is good pace, you know, and if the pace is quick, then everyone gets their chance.
Two good horses taking on each other. It's going to be an almighty clash, and I hope it's a great spectacle for the public.
Hartnell below the 200. The real Hartnell. We're seeing him today all right at Flemington, and he's going to canter in.
I think my horse is going a lot better. John's got him ticking over beautifully. He looks fantastic. He's a happy horse. He's ready to rock and roll.
I'll be brutally honest, I'd love to see Hartnell and Winx get a fair run, an even run, and see two horses at the peak of their powers.
Here's her 7th Group 1 victory. Winx, watch out Melbourne, she's coming back for another Cox Plate.
I think with even luck, these two horses could put on something special here on Saturday.
Wakey, wakey, Winx, you've got a legitimate contender for the Cox Plate.
For me, it's one step at a time, but the next step now is a Cox Plate.
Team get off and are flying at the moment, so if they carry that form to Saturday, he's in with a great hope. But yeah, I can't wait. Bring it on.
Couple of the best, Simon, aren't they? And it's fascinating to read Matty Stewart's article this morning in the Herald Sun that Huey sat in a sauna with James McDonald about 5 years ago and sort of talked him into coming from New Zealand to Australia, and they're the best of mates.
It's the flashy kid versus the bush lad.
Yeah.
The beauty of the Winx story is she just looked like a good horse, probably a length short of being a superstar. Each run, she's got better. She was a promising 3-year-old. But was beaten more often than not in the pressure races. And I'm a big believer of you give a horse confidence, treat them like you're your friend. They're pets to us. Love them, look after them. Don't put them under too much pressure when they're not ready for it, and they will do anything for you. They will run over hot coals. They'll run through a brick wall if you treat them right.
Blackheart but won't go away, but Winx is too good. She scared her rivals away.
I think that's what makes racing so special. We get to work with our pets. We get to love them and deal with them 365 days a year, not just the week before a Cox Plate. We get to spend time with them. We get to learn their characteristics, and they're very special animals.
All week, he's coming just before the Cox Plate. And for Chris Waller, well, you saw him a moment ago. I mean, these two guys are doing everything in racing. What was he doing?
He's very meticulous. He's already setting up next week's track work for all of his horses there back around Sydney. So always working at it, Chris.
It certainly is quite unbelievable.
Winx is too good. She scared her rivals away, and she blew them away when they got there.
They say it's the best 2 minutes in sport, and I'm the lucky recipient to be a part of Hartnell, and I wouldn't swap him for anything.
The real Hartnell. We're seeing him today all right at Flemington, and he's going to canter in.
History will tell you, don't worry too much about lead-up form. Find a horse that can cope with that pressure of the tough 2,040-metre Cox Plate.
It'd be nice to win for His Highness. You know, his objective is to win the feature races throughout the world, and obviously this would be to tick a box for him.
It's a very levelling industry, so for me it's one step at a time, but the next step now is a Cox Plate.
Here's her 7th Group 1 victory. Winx, watch out Melbourne, she's coming back for another Cox Plate.
Look, I'd prefer she wasn't there. I generally think, you know, she's a champion and it's not ideal that you have to run against them. But, you know, we'll just turn up and do our best.
I think my horse is going a lot better. John's got him ticking over beautifully. He looks fantastic. He's a happy horse. He's ready to rock and roll.
But the further they go, the further Hartnell's pulling away. Oh, isn't this easy money?
Look, his lead-up form's brilliant, Hartnell. You can't deny that. And the ease he's been winning at, I've been in awe of it.
Obviously, Hughie and I are great mates, so it makes it more intriguing over Hartnell, so we've got to turn the table. So come race day, it'll be all serious, and may the best man win.
Well, two great trainers. I mean, John O'Shea not here at the moment. He's still ill. He's been crook all week. He's coming just before the Cox Plate. And for Chris Waller, well, you saw him a moment ago. I mean, these two guys are doing everything in racing. What was he doing?
He's very meticulous. He's already setting up next week's track work for all of his horses there back around Sydney. So
their star steed, Hartnell, have made this meeting their mission. They are up for the fight. Hartnell's a gelding, relaxed and quiet. But there's no disputing his presence. His physical appearance is intimidating.
But the real Hartnell, we're seeing him today all right at Flemington, and he's going to canter him.
Just ask his rivals in the Turnbull Stakes. He gave them a beating.
Wakey, wakey, Winx. You've got a legitimate contender.
And what about the human element to this championship decider? The matchups are simply intriguing. In Winx's corner is trainer Chris Waller, the Kiwi who has turned his Sydney stable into an East Coast juggernaut. 64 Group 1 wins, 6 consecutive Sydney trainer premierships. He's up against Godolphin's John O'Shea, who 17 years ago started with just 5 horses in Western Sydney. Now he controls the Australian arm of a global force that is literally racing royalty. And in the saddle, 2 of the world's best racers. The knockabout boy from Dunedoo, Hugh Bowman, up against the cocky Kiwi with the world at his feet, James MacDonald.
The Mac attack continues. That's 5 for Godolphin.
In the Valley of Dreams today, the Weight for Age Championship of Australasia will be decided. For 6 of the biggest names in racing, this is a title fight for the ages.
And it's a wet battlefield today, there's no question about that. What a build-up to the W S Cox Plate. We've had a bit of everything here today, and in the last 5 or 10 minutes, probably the strongest winds and hail we've had through the day. There is a thought this is the coldest Cox Plate day ever. The first run in 1922, we won't know that until probably tomorrow. But temperatures around about 10, 11 degrees in Melbourne. Here are the dividends from the previous race, Grand Marshal and Who's Shot the Barman, both trained by Chris Waller, who's the trainer of the mighty Winx. They ran first and second, and John Wheeler was third with Pentathlon. And so Winx comes into this year's Cox Plate chasing a 13th straight win and a 9th Group 1 victory. But when she lined up in this race in 2015, her record wasn't as convincing. But what a win it was. This week, Hugh Bowman took us on the ride of our lives to reenact her greatest win.
Winx kept going by Hugh Bowman. What a win! Winx has bolted in the Cox Plate by 4 lengths.
Hughie Bowman and Chris Waller looking for their first major. When we say major, we're talking a Caulfield Cup, a Cox Plate, a Melbourne Cup, or a Golden Slipper.
I didn't know whether she was really up to Cox Plate standard. I thought she could either win by 5 lengths or not be good enough.
this is the cauldron for the Goliaths of racing. The atmosphere when these gates break open is phenomenal from the crowd.
I actually cantered right down to about the 500-600 metre mark just to get away from all the people.
So Winx will run favourite here. You've got to be a great mare to win.
I was a bit worried in the barriers because she was fractious. She was getting agitated. Barrier attendant with me grabbed her ear just to settle her.
Stand by for the greatest 2 minutes in sport.
Bang! The gates are open.
Winx jumped okay with the cleaner. Hartnell reeled away brilliantly. He's out having a peek for the lead. Criterion went over their heels at the start.
At this point, the pace was very strong.
Past the judge, and the cleaner has the lead from Aaron. Hartnell reeled just box-seated beautifully right behind Winx on the rail about sixth.
When we went around past the 1600 metre mark, Ryan Moore took the opportunity to move out off the fence, which left a gap of about 5 to 6 lengths between myself and the cleaner. And I'm trying to keep my horse in a good rhythm, but I don't really want to be stuck behind the cleaner either. I could feel the pressure starting to build.
Up the side, 1400 left to go, and the cleaner has the lead. Just over a length in front of Arrod running second. Hartnell is third.
We come around the 1,000 metre turn, and I'm starting to think the pressure will build.
1,000 metres to go, and the cleaner is the leader in the Cox Plate. Arrod a little bit keen second. Hartnell third. Complacent deep out, and then came Winx getting up on the inside to fifth.
So I was just weighing up my options as to which one I might take or which one might eventuate. The cleaner, Shea, moves out. So from the fence, out 3 horses, which presented me the dream run.
Winx, well, Bowman's got plenty to give, and he's getting an inside run.
And I go here! And she just got onto that fence and cornered like a greyhound.
Winx is away and gone round the home turn.
I go whack! And away we go for the Cox Plate. And the acceleration she delivered me was something that I'll never forget.
But Winx is well clear from Criterion and Hartnell.
Pulled the whip through and I gave her a crack. She extended again. I couldn't believe it.
Winx kept going by Hugh Bowman. What a win!
The emotion going through my body, you know, the Cox Plate, I'm out in front, having seen all the champions in the years gone by. And it's at about this point here that I know that Winx and I are going to win our first Cox Plate. What a feeling.
Winx has bolted in the Cox Plate by 4 lengths to Criterion. Hartnell ran third.
It was shades of sunline, to be honest. It really was on the home turns.
Unbelievable win by a superstar mare.
It was a feeling of elation, a feeling of pride, a feeling of satisfaction.
It's just a great way to relive a race, isn't it? What an insight from Hugh Bowman there. And the one thing you get out of that is, I know she got the dream run, but she sustained a long gallop, didn't she?
She sure did, and the way Huey said that he gave her a smack and she just found again, it was super impressive.
Plenty of horses that were up on the pace with her last year that dropped out of that contest, but she didn't. Yes, she had that inside run, but she did put nearly 5 lengths on them within a furlong and a half.
Throughout her career, gets stopped in her tracks inside the 500 metre mark when you're letting down and supposedly going through your gears, get up off the turf and use that acceleration. She was able to show that on Cox Plate Day with an uninterrupted run, and I think she won with something in hand, because when she has been challenged, like her run in the Doncaster when she was 3 pairs further back, half the field was in front of her. She got stood up a couple of times, but she just loves a challenge and she likes a target in front of her. She'll run them down always. So to me, she's never really been gutted. We never really have seen the best of her. We've seen her tested, but maybe today's the day.
Well, earlier today, Richo caught up with her jockey, Hugh Bowman.
Well, so much discussion about this great race and Huey Bowman. All the discussion's over now. It's going to be in your hands. How are you feeling going into it?
Feel very good, Jason. The mare's very well. She handles all conditions, so a little bit of moisture around isn't really any concern. And just waiting for the clock to tick over now so we can get on with it.
So the speed map in your mind, 800 metres out, do you have you ahead of Hartnell or the other way around?
Not sure. What do you tell me?
I don't know. That's what I need to know from you. Or is that the reaction with her? You just ride her how she is?
Well, she's a better judge of pace than I am, so I'll have her where she's comfortable.
And is she giving you the feel at the moment that she's every bit as good as last year or even better?
She's better than last year.
Okay. So last year she was breathtaking. Are you expecting the same result?
The expectations are high, but look, you know, I'm not getting carried away. It is the Cox Plate, and you know, it's the best race in Australia, so we're not taking it lightly, but the horse is very well.
Take us into the jockey's room. You and J-Mac, you know, we know you're good mates. You're sort of glancing at each other, or it's just now all quiet?
No, he's sitting across from me, so we're pretty close, so a little bit of banter, but, you know, like I said, as the day goes on, you know, we'll start to focus more on that particular race, but we've both got plenty of rides on the day, so keeps our mind at ease.
Well, if you could possibly do what you did last year, mate, I know the whole of Australia is there cheering you on. Good luck.
Thank you.
It is in pressure on him. I mean, it's a massive couple of minutes in his life, the horse's life, and the legacy she leaves.
But you want him in your corner, don't you? Just the way he was talking to Richard there, so cool and calm and collected.
I've got to say, good on you, Richo, for asking him the tactical question, because we would all like to know, but he's not going to tell you that. Huey was just stone cold.
So she's going to run.
But this seems a special union, these two.
A different preparation this year.